Good morning. It is the Friday of my last day of the first trimester of me returning to elementary school, if that makes sense. Basically, it's a Friday morning. This is the last day of the first trimester, and I have successfully, I think, completed my first trimester and my return to elementary school. I'm really just here to say good morning because I think this is going to be a one-day vlog, and I always feel like I should start the vlog in the morning and say good morning instead of starting it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and jumping into it. So I'm just getting myself set up for the day. I wanted to check in to let you know I skimmed the comments on the last vlog. I will be responding to those over the weekend. And someone wanted to know if the kids got their Plinko chip dropped. So we did silent conversations, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. And they did get their Plinko chip. They did a very good job. There was, and I'm pretty strict, but there was a couple of moments where a student was very quietly talking, but I told the class I wasn't going to count that because it was like logistical talking. Like she couldn't find her colored pencil and she was trying to ask where it was at. So I talked to her and I said, well, when we're traveling from one table to the next, you got to really make sure you have all your things so you aren't put in a position to need to talk. I still have a study sync item on here. So they got the Plinko chip, they dropped it. I randomly call in a student to drop it using one of my spinners. So she got up there, she dropped it. They got an extra $600. So they are now at 25,000, or it was an extra 500 because they were at 25,100. Now they're at 25,600. So they were very excited about that. Now the actual silent conversation itself went well, but what we do need to work on is the depth of their responses. So when they finished doing the rotations and I had them share out like what was the general consensus of what people were saying, they were able to do that, but the general consensus of what students was saying was very vague in terms of what I really want them to be able to do. Like it wasn't as detailed as I want their responses to be, so we talked about it. And in some cases, they weren't really answering the question. So for example, one question was basically, the main person in the story, it's a real person, it's the person that invented the TV, and the story lets you know that as a child he was very curious, but also a little bit different, like was not the average child his age, enjoyed reading, enjoyed time on his own more than anything, enjoyed spending time with his grandma, like all that. And so he wins a contest and he gets some prize money, and the story tells you that with his prize money he immediately decides to buy a new pair of pants because he had been wearing pants that were too short and kids were making fun of him. So the question was asking the fact that he decided to take his reward money and the first thing he wanted to do was buy pants, what does that tell you about him as a person? And so the general consensus response was just like, oh, that he wanted some new pants. And that was it. And so I was like, well, we know he wanted some new pants, but what does that tell you about him? Or they would say he wanted some new pants, or that he was being bullied because his pants were too short. And I said, yes, those are both true. He wanted new pants and he was being bullied because his pants were too short. But what does that tell you about him as a person? Like, and so then I asked him, do you think he's comfortable with who he is? Do you think he likes who he is and what he does and what his interests are? And they were like, yes. I said, but at the same time, he's getting bullied about having his pants that are too short and he immediately wants to fix that. So what does that tell you about him? Even though he likes who he is and he likes all the things that he does, he still wants to what? And then they were able to get to the idea that he wanted to fit in. So we do have to work on that. I did hang up the posters. I'm not going to zoom in too much because it has student names on it, but I did put them over there. And my thought is that we'll do silent conversations again with the different stories, but my thought is to at least save those to see if, as the year progresses, does the quality of their responses improve. And so the hope is that they will. So that's how silent conversations went. They took their Wonders assessment yesterday. I did have them do it on paper and then transfer it online. We did talk about the previous Wonders assessment that I had just graded before they did that. I let them look at their writing response, their scores. And so when they were going to transfer their answers onto Connected, it myself. I said, if you didn't like the score you got on the last assessment, this might be a great time for you to really review your answers one more time, because if you feel like, oh, I marked this on my paper, but now I realize it's this, go ahead and change it. And they still were in a testing environment, so they had privacy folders up and all that. And I will say, I did see kids going back and like checking. So that was yesterday. The only downfall to that is that my grade level tutor found a report that breaks down student performance by question. And for some reason that report is not showing up for me on that particular assessment. So our district rep had to email Connected to see if they could fix it. So stay tuned for that. But I just want to say good morning. I'm gonna eat my breakfast. I got my iced coffee from McDonald's. She is a 10. Haven't been to Starbucks. I actually went to Starbucks on the way to CTA last week because I had enough points to get a free drink. Haven't been in a while, but even when I got the Starbucks then, I was like, I mean, is this $8 worth of joy when I can get something for $1? And the answer was like, not really. So I haven't been back. I do have points to get another free drink. But on Fridays, I also allow myself to get a sausage muffin for breakfast. So I'm gonna enjoy that and go about my day. I will check in with you definitely later on and all of that. But yeah, happy Friday to me and happy day to whatever it is for you. It's after school. And if I were to sum up today, I would just say there was something in the water, something in the air, whatever phrasing of that you want to say. Because from the moment they got in, the class just felt off. Not like terrible, but just like extra talkative, extra chatty at times where they normally aren't. And I said, I was like, I don't know if you guys are just excited because it's Friday, which, hey, I get. I'm excited for a Friday too. But we need to calm down. And they had VAPA today, and even the VAPA teacher was like, what's going on? Like, they just were really active, like to the point where they didn't get through everything she wanted to get through with them because it took them a while to simmer and settle. So it made for a day that was more tiring than what I would have liked, but it is what it is. As far as what we did today, I was able to get that report I needed from Connected working and got that information in there. I was disappointed with some of the, let me add this. Hold on a second. Some of the results, which is why I'm looking at a couple of things on TPT. So the questions that my class did not do well on were all based on Greek and Latin. It may have been Greek and Latin roots, just roots, Greek roots, let's just say that. And so we have to fill in the chart, what was the performance of your class per each grade, and then you have to have some reflections. Now the truth of the matter is that what I put in my reflection is this one was rushed. I did not teach this block of learning like I would have normally done. There were no small groups, and it was just kind of a rush job because I had to have it all done by a certain day, and so I couldn't take the time I would have normally liked. And because it was rushed and I was short on time, I can't really legitimately say I did any specific instruction on the vocabulary skill. So that is definitely contributing factors to me, and I do feel as though once I figure out what the second one is, I'm going to do that one first so that I can give it my full attention like I normally would, so that when I look at the results I can pull that factor out. Like I can eliminate that as a reason as to why maybe they didn't do as well as I wanted them to. So I was disappointed because I'm like, I'm working really hard, and in some of these places they should have done better. So that's why during my prep I went on, because the thing with Greek and Latin roots, it's just very hard to teach in a way that doesn't feel like a worksheet, or that feels more authentic or feels regular enough for them to really embrace the idea that a lot of words are sourced from these prefixes and suffixes. So I just went on TPT to see like what's out there, and one thing I'm looking at, I haven't been able to look too closely because I ran out of time during my prep, was there's something that's called boom cards. And I've never heard of that before, and it's almost phrased as if people know what boom cards are. And what it looks like is it's kind of a game where they give you either a Greek or Latin root, and then you have to figure out the definition of it to uncover a piece of a picture. That's as far as I got. And so my thought is right now, if it's what I think it is, or if it's something like that, that it could be just like a quick daily practice, I feel like I can incorporate that as a part of my morning routine, or maybe take some time out of soft starts. Like, it's just something that I feel like I would be able to integrate on a daily basis, so that I do feel like they're not being exposed to Greek and Latin roots in isolation only when there's a test. Because I even thought about the Greek and Latin root packet, but that's just a little too much for this grade, and it would be one more thing for me to have to grade, which sounds bad, but that's also the reality of teaching life. I can't add so many things to the point where I can't really grade anything. So I'm looking at that. But in language arts, we also did a step up to writing lesson, because I think I mentioned this morning that one of the things that I noticed on the last Wonders assessment and before that was that the class as a whole does not have the ability to really take a prompt and turn it into a solid, sound topic sentence. So I found something, let me just sign back in. On Step Up to Writing, that specifically talks about how to turn a prompt into a topic sentence. So we did a little bit of that together, because they're really in the habit of saying, in this essay, in this paragraph, I'm going to tell you. So I'm trying to get them to understand you don't need to announce what you're going to do, because a well-written topic sentence will do that for you. So the first thing we did is we did the practice page together, turning a writing prompt into a topic sentence. So it tells them, read the prompt carefully, circle the topic, circle the strongest verb that guides the writing, underline words that show the type of text to write, and underline words that show what to write about. And then use those key words from the prompt to help you write the topic sentence. And sometimes you may not use all of them. So then they give an example where they circled the topic, circled the verb, and then underlined that you're writing a short essay, and underlined what you have to talk about, and then gave them an example. So then as a class, or as table groups, I had them try and write a new topic sentence using this prompt, and then I said I will have a representative from each group share. I'll pick the one that I think is the strongest, and that's the one that we will use. And so we did that. And then right after that, we did, was it this one? This one, where now they're given a prompt and they're going to write a topic sentence. So this one we did together, and I said this is an example of a very basic prompt, because one of the things we talked about is sometimes prompts will be very vague and general, and sometimes they'll be super specific. So I said this one is more on the vague side, because you just have to explain the rules to your favorite game. There's a directive on explaining the rules, but you can pick whatever game you want. There's not a long list of things you have to be sure to mention. You just have to explain the rules to your favorite game in the best way you see fit. So we did that one together, and then this one I had them do on their own, which is more involved, where it says, if you could talk with anyone at all, alive or dead, for a half hour, who would it be? In a short essay, tell who you would like to talk to, why, and what you would ask that person. So we went in, we circled the topic. If you could talk to anyone at all, alive or dead, for a half hour, who would it be? We underlined that it has to be a short essay. And we underlined that we need, or circled that we need to tell, so that we know we're explaining. And then we underlined that they need to talk about why you chose that person and what you would ask that person. And then they worked independently to create their own topic sentence. And then I called on someone at random, had them share. Then we listened to see, had he responded to all the requirements of the prompt, and he did. And then we ran out of time. And then they had to take a selection test in Wonders. Math was pretty straightforward. It was just multiplication patterns using powers of 10. That math lesson probably took me 20-25 minutes to teach, because it was an extension of the day before. I did decide yesterday to randomly check their math notebooks to make sure their notes are in there and complete. I told them that I would be checking them today, gave them some time in class yesterday, and theoretically to go home and clean up their notebook, make sure they had everything. And I said I will be giving them, I think I'm gonna make it worth 100 points. Just to encourage them that when we go into the second trimester, they understand the need of getting their notes down, because I do have some students whose notebook wasn't complete, things were missing, and so I would call them over and really explain, like, you should have them complete because you have access to the notes at all times. And if you're absent, you still got to get the notes. If you left because you went to band, you still got to get the notes. And so just kind of let them know that going forward, they should be very aware of that. So that's, I mean, essentially how the day went. I feel like there was something I wanted to share or say, and I'm just not remembering. I tell you, just my brain now, I forget things so easily. I do know, when I was driving to school this morning, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home, or I'm gonna go to work, and I'm gonna leave like at contract so I can go home, possibly exercise, because I chose not to exercise this morning because I went to bed late. So I'll have to swap my rest day on Sunday, meaning Sunday should be a rest day, but now I need to make up the workout that I was supposed to do today, because I took today as a rest day. But I was like, well, maybe I'll go home at contract time, do the workout then, because it's just a 30-minute lower body strength class, and then walk the dogs and cook, because I need to cook, and then just start getting some grading done, because today's the last day of the trimester and we have to finalize everything early next week, and I don't want to be scrambling. And then I got here and remembered there is an APEC event this evening, and I like to, you know, make my presence known at that time to let the parents know that I am in support of the program. So my plans have changed. So it's 3:17. So what I'm going to do is probably go home, walk the dogs, cook the dinner, I think, come, you know, show support, and then leave. Because if I wait till it's over, by the time it's over, it will be dark outside, and I do not like to walk the dogs in the dark. I had to do that yesterday because I went to like a little, what do you call it? Not happy hour, like a little get together for a former coworker of mine that is retired now and is moving out of state. So I went to go say goodbye to her, and then by the time I got home, it was dark, so I had to walk the dogs in the dark, which I don't like to do. So that is that. But it's just been, it's Friday, but it hasn't been my favorite Friday. Like, I don't like what I'm wearing today, so I wasn't feeling great about that. The kids were chatty. I felt like I was just kind of nagging all day, but necessary nagging. I have grading to do, and I just feel like I just need a weekend where I'm not doing things. And so I don't know if this is going to be that weekend, because already my Friday right now is kind of chopped up, and then tomorrow will come. I have a lash appointment, which isn't like by any means terrible, but it's like a disruption to the day. And then Sunday I have a massage, and as I'm saying this out loud, it sounds crazy, but it's like I just want to lock myself in a room without any interruptions or any need to do anything else, to try and get things that have been floating around in my brain done, especially because we're starting a new trimester, and like some of these things I want to see if I can get going, but we'll see what I can do. All I know is that I need to go home right now. I might finish I have the stuff for my homework packet for next week printed, but I think if I sit here and get them copied, I'm not gonna be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish at home before I come back here. So I'm gonna just pause here. I'm not gonna end the vlog, but I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna go home, come back, and go from there. So I'll see you, I'll probably check in with you in a couple hours or so. Okay, I'm home. It's about 4:50. I have walked the dogs. There they are, relaxing. You guys want to say hello? They have not a care in the world. And I have started cooking, and as I was in the middle of cooking my meal, and it told me to pull out the ground pork, and I looked in my refrigerator and I said, I don't have any ground pork. I realized I'm missing a meat for this meal. So I just finished texting, let's see, Blue Apron, and told them, and I just got this response. Sorry to hear your order arrived without the ground pork. This week each order should blah 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 blah. I know this is one of the main ingredients for the recipe, so I've added a $19.30 credit to your account to go towards your next order, and I'll see it. I've also shared this with the team. I'm here for you, blah blah blah. So I'm just gonna say thanks. And now I'm gonna go to the grocery store to buy the 10 ounces of ground pork that I'm supposed to have, and then come back and finish, because really it's annoying, but that's the last step. I just need to cook the meat and then make the sauce, and then it's pretty much done. The pasta's in here, and there's zucchini that I cooked in there, and all the stuff that's left is a part of the sauce. So this is what I'm making. I don't know how to say that pasta. Orecchiette? And ragu, or in pork ragu with currants and zucchini. So I'm gonna head my little self onto the grocery store and come back, and then when I finish that and probably clean up the kitchen, it's gonna be time for me to head out and go back to school. Okay, it is 10 minutes to 6 now. I'm done cooking the food. Here is what it looks like. I got the ground pork, but I was only supposed to put 10 ounces in that, but I could only find ground pork in 16 ounces, so there's a little bit more meat in there than there should be, so we're gonna see how that translates. I'm not worried, because to me more meat is better. I have done that. I have cleaned the kitchen up afterwards. Dinner's ready, the dishes are out of the sink, the counter's cleared, the dogs have been fed, and I'm getting ready to head back to the school. I did have to change because I was looking a mess. I had stuff on my shirt. My shirt was crinkled and wrinkled, so I just threw on this t-shirt. So I'm gonna head to the school right now, and then afterwards, I'm gonna pick up some dog food, and I'm gonna pick up some ice cream to treat myself for finishing the first trimester. So I will see you when I get back. All right, it is 8:18. I am home. I went to the event. It was nice, met some parents, then went and got dog food. And since I was over there, went and got my ice cream. Took a shower, washed my face, did all the things, and now I'm getting ready to eat my dinner. So there is my bowl of pasta that I'm about to eat, and I'm going to sit down and watch an episode of Nobody Wants This. I think the new season is out. It was very cute. Season 1, very lighthearted. Just no traumas happening. And then I'm just gonna relax. I'm going to just let myself enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, start doing the things, because I have so many things to do. I have like 2 weeks worth of laundry to put away. This weekend I have 2 weeks worth of laundry to put away. I need to get my lashes done. I have a massage on Sunday. My car needs to be washed. I have papers that need to be graded so that I can finalize my grades. I need to lesson plan. And I'm gonna get to do the laundry from the last week. And I'm gonna take those one little chunk at a time, because again, I am taking back control of my life, and I'm not letting anxiety, stress, emotions get the best of me. I'm just gonna take a deep breath and just do what I can. So if you enjoyed today's vlog, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to say congratulations to me for finishing my first trimester as my return back to elementary school, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment, please feel free to do so. All of those things are appreciated. I will respond to as many as I can. And as always, I hope that you guys are well. And before I tell you the rest, if you want to know my Cold Stone ice cream, it's coffee ice cream, Oreo cookies, Heath bar, and maybe even some Snicker, and maybe some brownie. I don't know. It's a lot. But as always, I hope that you guys are well. And if you're not well, please be well. And I will see you in the next vlog. Good night.